Buying health insurance is an immensely complicated procedure. Most customers are likely to compare premium rates, but then you must also compare product features. And there are so many of them these days. You must also compare the claim settlement ratios of different insurers. Most customers are likely to be defeated by this humongous level of complexity. To tackle this problem, we spoke to Mr. Kapil Mehta. He is co-founder and managing director of Secure Now Insurance Brokers. His firm has been rating health insurance products for 7 years now. Do watch this interview to learn about how you can use these ratings to buy a product that is well suited for your needs. So there are a lot of firms in India that rate mutual funds. There are even firms that rate ULIPs. But perhaps Secure Now is the only firm that rates health insurance policies. When did you start the rating of health insurance policies?
Sanjay, we've been doing this for about 7 years now, 7 to 8 years. It's a long period. And we do it because taking a decision on a health insurance is a complicated decision. There's so many different things to consider. Of course, the sort of features that go into the rating today are very different from what they were 7, 8 years ago. But having done these ratings for so many years, it gives us the ability to actually see what has changed over the years. And that itself is a very interesting perspective.
Okay. About how many policies do you rate currently? And do you only rate comprehensive health insurance policies? Or do you also rate, say, top-up policies and critical illness plans?
The philosophy we have, Sanjay, is that we rate every single comprehensive policy that's available on the website of an insurance company and where rates are available. So it's all comprehensive, what is classically known as Mediclaim. It does not include top-ups or critical illness plans. Those are sort of different. But it's 100% coverage of what's available in the market.
Now, how did the idea for rating these products arise? What is the goal behind these ratings?
Well, I think what we found is that very often people take a decision on health insurance just by looking at price. And we often find that, people are comparing premiums and not really looking at what they are buying. And that is a very wrong way to buy health insurance. It may be short-term better, but long-term disadvantages. And so we felt the need to put things in perspective and really through the way we set the criteria and how we evaluate the products, it's our way of telling buyers what they should factor into a health insurance purchase. And, we also sort of in the rating simplify things considerably by classifying products as A, B, or C. And so for some people, it becomes easy to see what's A, what's B, what's C. And for others, who want to go into more detail, all the features are available. So really, the objective was to make the buying process much simpler than what it is today.
What does the A, B, and C mean?
So we have a mathematical way by which we give weightages to different factors. Based on that, you get final scores for every product. And there's a scale. If you're more than 65% marks in that score, then you're A rated. If you're between 45 and 65, you're B rated. Otherwise, you're C rated. And the score itself is an amalgamation of about 10 to 12 different features that go into it.
How frequently are these ratings revised?
We have so far been doing it on an annual basis. And but going forward, we are thinking about whether we ought to do this more frequently. And one of the drivers for that is that until some time ago, the regulator had a rule that once premiums are issued by a health insurer, they can't be changed for 3 years. And now through recent regulatory changes, the insurers have somewhat more flexibility in changing the product structures and prices. And so we want to make sure we stay in tune with the regulatory changes and do this a bit more often.
Which means perhaps you will shift to a 6-monthly revision of the ratings.
At the minimum, yes. And and Sanjay, I must add that this is not a buying tool. So it's not that you sort of identify a product and you click and you make a purchase. So this is just a pure research tool that we've created for buyers who can do their own research and then sort of go and buy from wherever they want after they have done the research.
Give us a sense of the complexity that a typical buyer of health insurance faces when he's about to make a purchase.
Yeah, you think about it, right? So they are, of course, let's take this most simple thing of premium, which I spoke about. And let's say there's a person who's 30 years old who's buying a premium. The first thing, they have to look at the current premium. But what they don't realize is that also have to look at the premium in future years, because the premiums change. And you may get a low premium today, but when you turn 45 or when you turn 60, you may find the premium shooting up quite a bit. So you got to look at today and you got to look at tomorrow, so far as premiums are concerned. When you think of product features.
So I will interrupt you here. Do health insurers specify future premiums also?
Yes,
okay.
They do.
Yeah.
And so in these ratings, what we do, Sanjay, is we actually look at current and future premiums, and we sort of score on the average of that. So it's a very comprehensive system. But this is just premium. So like they have to look at product features. They got to look at what are the waiting periods? What are the caps on the room rent? What are the caps on the diseases? Does it have OPD benefit, wellness benefit? Is there a co-pay? Is there a restore benefit? Are there sort of other restrictions, other features, international cover? There are a whole bunch of things. And then claims is a world in itself. Claims itself has 3-4 parameters you got to look at. So it's a very complicated decision. And not everybody understands the full magnitude of what you need to see.
Could you offer some tips on how customers can go about using these ratings to make the optimal purchase for themselves?
Of course, the first thing you got to do is to decide what is the sum assured you want. And that can be a fairly commonsensical approach. If you're living in a metro, you want to get, and you're going to go to one of the sort of top grade hospitals, then you want to make sure that you have at least 15 to 30 lakhs. But if you're sort of going to go to a different hospital, then you can have between 10 to 20 lakhs. So you got to think through the sum assured you want and anticipate, how much you would spend on a disease like cancer or cardiac issues and so on. That's step number one. Step number two is to see who you want to cover. Is it just for yourself or is it for the family? Are parents also to be included? That's step number two. Once you know these two things, you can just go to this, money control secure now rating page, put these two factors in, and it'll immediately sort of give you the options that are available for you. And then you can pick. If you pick one of the A-rated ones, that's great. In some cases, you may prefer to buy a B-rated product because it's got some feature that you really value. That's important for you, but that's also fine. It's a very simple process.
And given the fact that you have been doing the ratings for so many years now, in what ways have health insurance policies evolved?
That's something which I sort of track quite closely. And I can tell you this, Sanjay, that the quality of the health insurance products over the years has improved significantly. So there was a time, 6-7 years ago, when having disease-wise capping was very common. Now that is diminished, and the number of products that have such cappings is very low. I'll give you one more example. I was looking at some data from our own database, and there were a very large proportion of total products that had 4-year waiting period a decade ago. And so you can have a 2-year, 3-year, or a 4-year waiting period. And a decade ago, I would say that 50-60% of the products used to be 4 years waiting. Today, when I look at all the products available in the market, the average has gone down from 4 to 3. So on average, there's a 3-year waiting period, but there are a large number of products that will also have a 2-year waiting period. Now, this reduction in waiting period is excellent for buyers. And I think this is a result of the competitive intensity that's taking place. And what I also noticed is, I sort of was also looking at the premiums and how those have changed over the years. And I was a little surprised that actually premiums have not grown substantially. So if you think about healthcare costs, the general understanding is that healthcare costs go up by 10 to 15% year on year, but the premium rates have grown by less than 10% over a 7-8 period. So I think they're all very good things for customers and buyers.
And most customers pay excessive attention, I think, to pricing. What would be your advice there?
The advice actually translates directly into the way the weightages have been given in the in these money control secure now ratings. We've given premium 25% weight, just 25 out of 100, right? We've given 25% weightage to claims, and under claims there are different parameters, and there's a 50% weightage given to product features. And in the product, within the product features itself, two features stand out. One is the waiting period for diseases and pre-existing conditions, and the second is the cap on the room rent. So this itself tells you, how we think about weightages, where price is sort of 25%, claims payment is 25%, but the bulk of the decision is on product features and understanding that carefully.
Is there any advice for people who are finding it difficult to get a health insurance policy?
Well, I think let's think about the reasons why people will find it difficult to buy a health insurance policy. One is that they've got a pre-existing condition, which is relatively severe, so they're finding it difficult. The second may be that they may find the policy expensive, not really fitting what their requirements are. So far as the first one is concerned, I think they are, depending on what kind of disease you have, the most common being diabetes, hypertension, thyroid related, etc. I think insurers are becoming very comfortable in covering some of these diseases with a loading. It's still not completely smooth and effortless, but if somebody does their research, you will find that there will be some insurers willing to cover somebody with diabetes. Somebody else will do hypertension more easily. So if you have a medical condition, then it requires you to do a little bit of groundwork through your advisors to figure out what it is. So far as the cost aspect is concerned, the best thing to buy is a comprehensive cover. If you find that very expensive, then you have so many other options. You can buy a top-up cover. The top-up cover is cheaper, but there's a certain amount of the claim that you will have to pay yourself. You can sort of buy a comprehensive cover, but add a copay, where you sort of split the bill between yourself and the insurer. So there are many of these options which can help lower your cost. Otherwise, I'd say generally buying health insurance has become so much easier now than what it used to be before. And in many cases, I find that you don't even need to go in for a health checkup. There may just be a phone call from the insurer asking a few questions, and your policy gets issued.
Would you have any advice for senior citizens who typically find it difficult to buy a policy?
Yeah. So in fact, keep thinking about senior citizens in these particular ratings. We actually have an entire set of products which are meant only for senior citizens. So we've got the age category of 75, and these are those products which somebody at the age of 75 can buy afresh. And they're very good. One of you were asking earlier, what are the things I've seen changing over the past few years? One is the number of senior citizen products. When I count the number of products that were available 7-8 years ago, I distinctly recollect that there used to be between 10 and 15 products. And today, if I count it, it's between 25 and 30 products. So the number of options have really increased, and the ability to give those products. Of course, if you're younger than 65 and you buy a health insurance product, any of the health insurance products, then by law, this can be this is renewable lifelong as you become a senior citizen till you live.
I have finished with my questions, Mr. Mehta. Is there anything you would like to add?
No, I would just strongly advise people to just go take a look at these at the Money Control Secure Now health insurance ratings. They give a very good feel, and the way it's laid out, you'll also get a very good sense of what to look in a health insurance product. It's not complicated. We've tried to make it easy to understand. So just just, I hope many people go and take a look at that web page.
Given how complicated the purchase is, and at the same time, how important this product is for retail customers, I sincerely hope that a lot of the people who watch this video will go and look up your ratings. Thank you, Mr. Mehta. It was a pleasure speaking to you.